Hello folks, in this video I will talk about class binding in Angular. This concept you will learn how you can bind the classes on any HTML element. So let me show you my screen and when I am presenting the PPT. So you can use class binding to add and remove CSS class names from an element's class attribute. So let me show you by example here how class binding works. So as I mentioned here, it is basically used to add and remove CSS class from an element's class attribute. So here we use the special syntax that Angular provides. So this is the syntax that Angular provides. Like you need to use this square brackets with the class, and here is the expression that you want to add. So let me so this is the precedence that I will talk it later. I will talk this later. This is precedence. So firstly we need to understand the concept, what is class binding, and this is the syntax of class. Now let's move to the example. So let me show you it by the code. So as I mentioned, it is basically used to add the attribute on any element. So here this is the basic expression that we have added. So let me show you, let me run this program. So here it is running. Let me remove that code. So currently what we have done here, so for our basic example, let me start with the basic example. So expression here is the whatever the classes you want to add dynamically. So as you can see in your code file, you can see that here we have added the classes that we want to add on that class. So you can do that by using the class binding. So here you can check that it added these classes, in that element. So you can check here. So it had added these classes to that element. So whatever the properties for these classes we have, so it will add those properties here. So let's move to the another example. So if you want to add a single class, so you can add that by using the dot expression, dot with the class name. So this is the class name and this is the dynamic property we have, means we want to show that data or not. So here we have mentioned true. So in that case it will add the sail class here. So let me show you the sail class. So sail class represent here color red. So now this expression becomes, so this expression going to red. So let me show you. So as you can see here, it added the class here. So if I disabled it here, it will not show. It will not show this. So as you can see, it has not added the class or not added that class. So if you want to add the class conditionally, you can use the class binding and this syntax. Now let's move to the another example that we have. So this is another way to add the class. Let me show you here. So these are, so with that, in that way you can also add the class, like you want to add this class on this element, so you can pass the here true. You can add it conditionally also, and this is also a class name. So let me show you, like we have added the class this foo. So let me show you the difference here. So whatever the properties of this class have, it is added in that HTML element. Let me show you here. So as you can see here, see it will change. It has added the class of foo class. So you can also check that using here. Let me go. So it had added the class foo. So if you also true that, then it will add the class bar to this element. So as what I mentioned here is, so with the class, let me show you some more popular cases here. So what we have, so as I mentioned here, if you want to bind single class, then you can use this expression. Here sale is a class name, and this is the expression that you are passing. So if you want to bind the multiple CSS classes, then you can use that class expression. So this is the class expression here. So another, what I mentioned, you can add an object with class name as the keys and true or false expression as their values. So these are the popular use cases that we have. Let me change it. So let me update it here. So according to these Boolean properties, you can add the data here. So what are the popular use cases that we have discussed? Here you can use it with the any HTML element. Dev, any element you can use it. Now let's talk about the precedence that I have added. So as I mentioned here, so we also have the class attribute. So if you use both the things on a single element, so it gives preference to the class. So it gives preference to the class binding. So let me add here also class binding. So the class binding is this. Let me show you it by example. So here what we have class also, and we have binding also. So as you mentioned that this is a standard way of adding the class. So in Angular we can use class binding. So you can see that to which it will give the preference. So here, as you can see here, bad curly. So it will give preference here. Let me add here. Let me update it. Standard class, and this is the precedence class. So now it is throwing some error. Okay, now it is compiled successfully. So now as you can see here, it has added both the classes here, the standard class and the bad curly, that is assigned to that property. Let me show you properly how it affect that. So this is a standard class that we are showing now, bad curly special. This is a standard class syntax, and that is the standard class and class binding syntax. That is both. So let me add here some more things. Let me add some color also. This is the bad curly. So this add the bad and curly class. So I have already added the bad here. Now let's move to the curly. So what it does, it has added both the classes to that element. So as you can see here, the pet class is added, the curly class is added. So this example is same like the on sale. Now next example is this, that is same that we are currently doing. Let me change it. Currently, so let's change it. So as you can see here, it has added a special class with the font weight bold and font size extra large. So this is the basic about the auto class binding. So here we have covered the expression. So these are the expression that we can use for class binding. And so as I already mentioned all those things, single class, multiple classes, and object with the class. So these are the special use cases that we have. Okay, thanks for watching guys.